Today on Monkey Life, Alison's on a mission to rescue female pet chimp Kalu, whose life hangs in the balance after the death of her owner.
Nobody in the world wanted her, and I was contacted to see if Monkey World could give Kalu a family of her own kind and take her on, otherwise she was going to be put down.
It means an intense 3-day turnaround trip to South Africa. But she's not travelling alone.
I've got the A-team with me, both sides.
And when they meet Kalu, it's a promising start.
She's already had a nice little chat with Jeremy, so I'm hopeful that this is gonna go okay.
And at the park, baby guenon Biff thinks autumn leaves are a whole pile of fun. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
You just never know how it's gonna work.
The park provides a home for more than 260 monkeys and apes from 24 different species. It's been 33 years since the late Jim Cronin welcomed 9 chimpanzees to the newly set up sanctuary of Monkey World. All were rescued from miserable, traumatic lives as beach photographers' props in Spain. Their saviours could never have suspected that all these years later, the park would still be rescuing and successfully rehabilitating primates from all over the world. Due to the illegal trafficking in wildlife, plus the pet trade, the rescue centre has sadly never stopped growing, with ever more varied species arriving. But it's the chimps that form the backbone of the park. There are now 54 of them from 14 different countries, and that number is about to increase.
Now, kicking off this year, we've got another chimpanzee come to us in need, and it's a very interesting and different story, a different kind of rescue than we've done before.
The chimp in need of a new home is Kalu, a female thought to be about 40 years old and living in South Africa. Hers is a truly remarkable story. It's said that British aristocrat and multi-million-pound heiress Patricia Cavendish O'Neill found Kalu tied to a tree outside the home of a foreign consulate in war-torn Zaire in the mid-1980s. Patricia took Kalu back to her farm, Broadlands, near Cape Town in South Africa, where the young chimp lived a privileged lifestyle as one of the family. But as she grew into adulthood, Kalu became more boisterous and uncontrollable and was moved into her own enclosure with some of Patricia's many other animals. The wealthy heiress intended to leave millions to Kalu, but later experienced financial difficulties, losing most of her fortune. Sadly, when Patricia recently passed away aged 94, there was little left for Kalu's upkeep and welfare. A close friend and neighbour contacted Monkey World to see if Alison could help.
When she passed, the people who have purchased the farm kindly allowed the animals to remain on site until homes could be found for them. And sadly for her, nobody in the world wanted her, and that's when I got the call. I was contacted to see if Monkey World could give Kalu a family of her own kind and take her on, otherwise she was going to be put down.
Despite Monkey World agreeing that no African ape should ever leave the continent, no one else came forward to help.
That's what Monkey World exists for, is to offer a place and a home for those individuals, refugees of the black market trade, or those that have been abused or neglected or are left homeless. And indeed, that's what's happened to Kalu. So yeah, we'll definitely take on the challenge. It concerns me because I don't know whether or not, how successful we'll be with her rehabilitation, but I do know that we've never had a chimpanzee come here that we haven't managed to carve out some form of lifestyle with other chimpanzees.
If everything goes to plan, Alison hopes to bring Kalu to Monkey World and introduce her to Bryan and his small group. They coped well with the arrival of Nari last year from Thailand, and Alison thinks they should be able to handle another new addition.
Hopefully that will give her back what she needs, and she'll turn from being a slightly edgy, angry person back into an aggressive chimpanzee, because that's what they are, but a contented one that has a family.
6,000 miles away in South Africa, Kalu is unaware help is on its way.
Bye-bye.
As Alison heads off to the airport, along with animal director Jeremy. Ahead of them is an 11-hour flight to Cape Town, and one of the most unusual and dramatic rescues in the park's long history. Every one of the chimps at Monkey World has a story. Their behaviour and ability to fit in with others of their own kind was shaped by their early lives. The majority arrived with a combination of social, mental and physical issues. But no challenge is too big for the care team, who do everything they can to ensure each newcomer settles into life with their own kind. At Hananya's, the mixed group of 18 are youngsters compared with Bart's chimps, or the still occasionally rowdy mob at the Bachelors. 3/4 of the group are females, under 30. They arrived as young adults, some with fairly good social skills, like Kiki. Despite being kept in a cage on the side of a road in Lebanon, she adjusted to life in Hananya's group very quickly. For others, like Patricia, the process took a bit longer. She came to the park in 2005 from the Spanish island of Fuerteventura, where she was kept as a pet, living outside on a patio. She had poor social skills and was especially nervous around Hananya. But over time, they've developed a strong relationship. And today, Patricia is a nice chimp who gets on with everyone. There are just 4 males in the group, with Hananya in charge. It's taken him a long time to come to terms with his role as alpha male, and everything it entails. At first, he found disciplining his best mates Shamak and Tico, who arrived with him from Israel, a big challenge. But since the loss of Tico, life has been less taxing. He still sometimes gets it wrong, but he's a good leader, and the group like him. For 6 years, the star of the group has been young Thelma. But she's growing up fast. The all-important white tuft, marking her out as a youngster, has all but gone. And she's fast catching up in size with some of the other females. But she still likes to have fun, even if she can't get away with as much these days. Laying claim to a comfy nest Shamak built for himself is definitely a thing of the past. But it seems catching a lift off Mum Cherry is still allowed. The bleak winter weather can be challenging for the care team and their charges. Keeping the resident primates busy and active is a lot trickier when it's cold and miserable outside. At the squirrel monkey enclosure, Karen is making the most of a sunny day. She's gathered up numerous hanging baskets and is stuffing them with fallen autumn leaves. In amongst the dry foliage, she's hiding one of the squirrel monkey's favourite treats, wriggly waxworms.
Should we give him the whole box? Yeah, why not? It's a cold day.
And for something different, she's adding tamarinds in their pods. The tangy fruit is encased in a hard shell, so the squirrel monkeys will have to work hard to crack it open. There are 6 squirrel monkeys in the group, although today the 2 eldest, Topsy and Turvy, have opted to stay indoors in the warm. The other 4 have headed straight outside. intrigued to see what's on offer in the enclosure. Logan is the biggest male in the group and arrived with Lopez and Lucille 3 years ago. They were confiscated by police from appalling conditions at a house in Somerset. Since coming to the park, the trio have thrived, physically and mentally. Logan shows just how much by demonstrating his amazing core strength as he searches for a tasty waxworm. The younger male who arrived with Logan is Lopez. Boisterous and feisty, he has only one eye, which affects his depth perception. But he still rises to the challenge, snaffling a tamarind from one of the baskets. Lucille, on the other hand, is quite a laid-back lady. When she arrived, she was scrawny and clinically emaciated. But with the love and care of the staff, she's blossomed. The other member of the group taking advantage of the outdoor treats is Nueve. She's a black-capped squirrel monkey, unlike the trio from Somerset, who are common squirrel monkeys. Like Lopez, she's still a youngster, and more athletic than her older housemates. Squirrel monkeys are arboreal. They spend most of their time high up in the tree canopy, hunting for insects and fruit. Their long tails are used for balance as they run and leap around. And they've certainly shown plenty of balance skills and natural instincts as they've tucked into today's enrichment. The bitterly cold morning at the park didn't put off the younger squirrel monkeys from coming out to play. And at the guenon enclosure, primate care member Tez has decided she's going to try a similar fun treat to tempt its residents out into the sunshine. She's distributing big piles of fallen leaves, some in mounds on the platforms, and others high up in hanging baskets. And there are plenty of hidden treats here too.
We've got mealworms, waxworms, a little bit of popcorn just to make them come out, enjoy their enclosure, just do a little bit of foraging on this lovely frosty morning.
It's something new and different for the guenons, who are fairly recent arrivals at the park. They won't know what's hidden among the leaves, but in order to find out, they need to come out. Nia and her daughter Biff are first to consider braving the cold morning. They don't show much interest in the piles of leaves in their enclosure, but Dad Benny takes on the day, heads straight out and checks on the baskets. He soon realises there are hidden treats inside. Reassured by her partner, Nia joins in, finding a pile of leaves of her own. Since arriving at the park 18 months ago, the pair, who were rescued after being stolen from the wild, have flourished, both mentally and physically, increasing in confidence every day. Now daughter Biff has become more independent, the two adults are spending more time together and growing close once again. They both love climbing in the trees, and today's enrichment is perfect for getting their bodies moving and their brains working. But they still keep a watchful eye on their daughter. Biff is an extremely confident, happy and energetic little monkey. She goes where she wants, when she wants. And today, she's discovered the leaf piles are not only full of food, but a great source of fun too. She seems to get away with pretty much anything, even purloining a leaf straight out of Mum's hand.
Biff is amazing. She actually is so fast around this enclosure. She just runs round, jumping from tree to tree. You just can't keep up with her. She is crazy fast, faster than Mum and Dad, and just amazing to watch. She's just a lovely little mini guenon. She's beautiful.
Red-bellied guenons are native to Benin in Africa. Generally, they're arboreal mangrove forest dwellers, and, like many primates, they're threatened with habitat loss. In the wild, they forage for insects, leaves, fruit, and other vegetation. They're quick and nimble with long arms and legs. Their tails, which they use for balance, are longer than the combined length of their head and body. Most guenons live in sizable family groups of females and youngsters, with a single adult male. But the family at the park are different. They live with the odd couple, Patas monkey Mitza and the park's oldest ring-tailed lemur, George. The morning sunshine eventually entices both unusual housemates out to bask in its warmth. But they're not interested in the tempting treats hidden in the leaves. They're quite content to watch the other housemates rummage around and burn off energy. Cape Town, on the southern tip of the vast African continent. Following an 11-hour flight from London, Alison and Jeremy are heading off to rescue an elderly female chimp called Kalu, who needs a new home. With them is wildlife vet John Lewis. His expertise in wildlife anesthesia will be key to making the mission a success.
It's been a long one, but we finally landed in Cape Town, and this is our first chance to really assess Kalu, but then also her environment and how we're gonna proceed, because we're not here long. We've only got 3 days to make this thing happen, so I've got the A-team with me, both sides. It's not gonna be easy, but we'll give her a go, and that's why we've all come here to do this.
Kalu is living on a farm called Broadlands, just outside Cape Town. She's lived there for most of her life. The estate belonged to her owner, Patricia Cavendish O'Neill, who recently passed away. The property is now in the hands of new owners, who allowed the chimp to stay until she could be rehomed.
Lettuce.
Instrumental to this has been Patricia's neighbour and friend, René Grobler, the owner of Monkeytown, a primate centre adjacent to Broadlands. Although he's been looking after Kalu for the last few months and helping Alison organise the move, his keepers didn't have the expertise or the facilities to integrate her with chimps there. The team from Monkey World are meeting with René before moving on to Broadlands to get their first look at the chimp.
Hello,
Hi.
welcome to Monkeytown.
Are you ready?
Renee, hi.
Yeah,
Hi,
pleasure.
Alison.
Renee, John.
Hi, John, nice to meet you.
I'm
Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy, nice to
Yeah.
meet you, Jeremy. Welcome. Here's Kalu's box.
Yay, fantastic.
Alison sent the travel crate ahead. The team check it over thoroughly to make sure it's still chimp-proof. Kalu is a fully grown adult weighing around 40 kilos and will be spending almost a day inside the box.
I just need to know that we're solid.
They don't want any mishaps.
Perfect.
All right,
Should we go see the chimp?
we can do that.
All right.
Let's go.
Alison is keen to meet Kalu. The team know very little about the chimp. All their information has come from René, and it's hard to gauge her condition and behaviour from photos and videos. It's just a short drive to Broadlands, where they find Kalu in her own enclosure with a goat for company.
Good catch. Good catch, missus.
She seems very interested in the newcomers who've come to visit her.
She's slim. She's fit, but slim.
Kalu immediately appears to develop a rapport with Jeremy.
She's fantastic. Beautiful chimp. Really good shape. Actually, a whole lot more relaxed than I anticipated. She's already had a nice little chat with Jeremy, so I'm hopeful that this is gonna go okay.
But her diet is a cause for concern. René knew Kalu's owner, Patricia Cavendish O'Neill, for many years and remembers just how fond she was of the chimp.
Mrs. O'Neill used to go in with her every day still, you know. She was the only one that could go in. Even when she was about 92 years old, she was a fragile old lady with a walking stick going in there and sitting with Kalu. Okay, she didn't give her the right diet. She gave her chippies and chockies and stuff like that, but, you know, but she never wanted her to go until she died. She really was a stubborn old lady, and she said this Chimp will go nowhere.
Alison already has plans in place for Kalu when she arrives at Monkey World. She'll be introduced to Bryan's mixed-sex group. But with 2 young adult males in the small troop, Alison's not taking any chances. She wants to get Kalu started on a birth control pill straight away.
I don't know if Michael has an opinion or how's the best way to get her to take them.
You want to give it to her now?
Well, I'd
right.
like to know that she gets them. Let's put it that way.
Michael.
Kalu's keeper, Michael, thinks the best way to give her the drug is mixing it in with a drink. Kalu is expert at drinking out of a bottle.
She's just taken her first birth control pill, so that's the beginning of hopefully meeting her new group and new family. No babies.
The team are working to a tight deadline.
Excellent job.
In a little over 48 hours, Kalu is scheduled to be on a flight back to the UK. But there's still a huge amount to sort out and finalise. The biggest concern is how to get Kalu safely into her travel crate.
That's the sleeping quarter, so I did put a gate on there. The keeper, he says we can get her in there quite easily.
Okay.
Unlike the apes at Monkey World, who've been taught by staff to accept an anaesthetic by hand injection, Kalu is unlikely to comply. The only alternative is to dart her. But that method comes with its own problems.
We did think before we came she would be out here,
Yes.
which is very difficult. Inside the house, it's so much easier. So that gate,
Yes.
John thinks he's found a solution. Isolating Kalu in her bedroom means she'll have less room to manoeuvre, making it easier to dart her. However, it still won't be easy. The bars and grates make a clean shot challenging. But keeper Michael may have the answer.
Full board.
yes.
His living quarters are joined to Kalu's and have a barred window sealed with a piece of plywood, which separates them.
For this job, we can make a small hole and
Yes.
hopefully dart from here. Okay, well, we have a plan. We will give her a sedative beforehand, just to
Yes.
keep her a bit quieter so she's more relaxed.
It's been a long day for everyone involved. Tomorrow, the team can start to put their plan into action. But for now, Kalu gets to enjoy her last hours on the African continent with her unusual companion. Next time on Monkey Life. A dramatic turn of events in South Africa threatens Alison's mission to rescue Kalu.
I'd like you to acknowledge that your client then is compromising the health and welfare of an endangered species.
Then, things go from bad
Oh, she's just fallen out the tree.
to worse. Today on Monkey Life. A dramatic turn of events in South Africa threatens Alison's mission to rescue elderly chimp Kalu.
I'd like you to acknowledge that your client then is compromising the health and welfare of an endangered species.
The team are locked out of the property where the chimp lives and can't reach her.
The man is holding Kalu ransom, who now owns the property, and he's locked the gates.
And when they do gain access, things go from bad
Oh, she's just fallen out the tree.
to worse. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
I can't keep her in. Get her in. Okay. Got it.
The park provides a home for more than 260 monkeys and apes from 24 different species. It's early morning in South Africa. Alison, along with animal director Jeremy Keeling and wildlife vet John Lewis, are on day 2 of a mission to rescue elderly female chimp Kalu, who's in desperate need of a new home and companionship of her own kind. Stolen from the wild as a youngster, she's lived most of her life on this estate, just outside Cape Town. She was kept as a pet by British aristocrat Patricia Cavendish O'Neill, who apparently found her tied up in the street in war-torn Zaire. When Patricia sadly passed away last year, aged 94, none of the rescue centres in South Africa were willing to take on the chimp. So Monkey World stepped in.
Right now, she's looking sort of okay, and she seems sort of happy in our company. So I just need to stay focused on the present and get that. When those wheels lift up and she's on board the flight, then I'll be able to relax a bit.
Since Patricia's death, her neighbour, Renee Grobler, owner of nearby Monkey Town, has been caring for Kalu. He was instrumental in getting Alison on board.
I've never had the experience of introducing new chimps to other chimps. So we've contacted some places in South Africa, local zoos and stuff, and no one could take her in. They had an issue with her because she was hand-reared, and that's why I contacted Alison to come and help us out.
Renee's staff put together a morning feed for Kalu, while preparing breakfast for their other charges. Alison is concerned the chimp's looking thinner than in recent photographs she was sent. It seems she has a liking for unhealthy snacks. The team will check her over and take bloods in South Africa, but she'll need a thorough health check when she arrives in Dorset.
So we're going to try and get Kalu in the back enclosure and close her up there. And then we're coming into a night shelter where we're going to inspect it for the darting of tomorrow. Right.
This morning, with the help of Kalu's keeper, Michael, the team want to isolate her in a different enclosure, so Jeremy can carry out some alterations to Kalu's bedroom. To travel, Kalu will need to be sedated and put in her travel crate. The team aim to dart her in her bedroom, but it needs to be safe for her and them.
If you look here, there's clearly bits that have failed and she can get her arms through, and if we're stood there, then obviously it's not a safe place for us to dart her from, and there's a bit over there.
With some local help, Jeremy gets to work, creating 2 safe vantage points from which to try and dart Kalu.
We can either distract her up to that window and dart her from here, or get her attention in here and dart her from there. So we've got options. Of course, the more options we have, the more likely it is to work.
Renee has recently fitted a sliding grate to keep Kalu in, which needs a bit of maintenance.
Do you have just a little bit of grease or something? We can just make that run a little bit. You don't want to put a whole load on, though, because she's going to just mess with it. OK? OK, thanks a lot, man.
While Jeremy makes the house chimp-proof, Alison and John head into town to pick up some essential medical supplies.
Hi, Bernice.
Hi,
Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
This is John.
John Lewis.
It's illegal for the team to travel from the UK with the drugs they need to sedate Kalu.
So the adrenaline, yes, that's 1 mg per mil. Yep.
Luckily, the local veterinary surgery deals in exotic species and has offered to help.
We're not necessarily, well, we probably won't use most of these, and a lot of them are drugs we need in case of problems.
John reckons he has every scenario covered.
Brilliant.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Back on the farm at Broadlands, Jeremy is also happy with his day's work.
We've covered reasonably, all options, and again, it's experience, when, John's obviously very experienced, and I've been around quite a long time myself, and you get to learn the tricks of the trade.
With the modifications completed on Kalu's shelter, keeper Michael lets her back into the enclosure. She wastes no time checking out what's new. With less than 24 hours to go, the countdown has well and truly begun. The primate care team at Monkey World are always striving to keep the lives of their charges exciting and interesting. New forms of enrichment pique the primate's curiosity and make for a stimulating day. Today, the park's second largest group of woolly monkeys is in for a very colourful, nutritious and rather prickly treat. The team have harvested lots of rose hips and are placing them all around their outside space. The 6 members of the Pond Woolies group live in a wonderful enclosure, packed with wild plants. But with no rose species growing, rose hip fruits aren't usually on the menu. They head out, immediately spotting something new and greeting it with excited trilling. Enzo wastes no time grabbing a bunch of rose hips on the run. 5-year-old Oriana takes a different approach, abseiling down the hoses using her prehensile tail as a 5th limb. But when she reaches the brightly coloured fruits, she's a bit cautious. She's not seen them before. But a few sniffs and she's tempted. Then she can't get enough. The Pond Woolies are a happy group, led by 12-year-old Paolo. He tends to keep to himself and is always on the move, checking his territory and making sure it's safe for the others. Occasionally there's a bit of tension between Paolo and the other big male, Enzo, who's 3 years younger. But the care team monitor this and try to minimise any stress. Enzo spends more time engaging with the females and their youngsters and enjoys their company. Although not the alpha male, he has been seen mating with Pakaya. The result was offspring Enya, who's now 6 months old and still dependent on her experienced mum, who's doing a wonderful job bringing up the youngster. Enya also has the added benefit of 2 older siblings to show her the way, Claude and Oriana. Baby woolly monkeys learn a lot from mum in their first few years, including how to interact with others, what to eat and where to find food, and, importantly, what's safe and what isn't. Pakaya seems to like the rosehip flesh, but is spitting out the seeds. With mum happily tucking into the tasty rosehips, Enya has the freedom to go off and explore. And she certainly makes the most of it. Even trying out the rosehips herself. The rosehips' prickly thorns have proved no obstacle to this group of contented woolies who have a rosy future ahead of them. "6,000 miles away in Cape Town, South Africa, the big day has arrived for Kalu. She's about to begin her long journey to a new home at Monkey World. Alison, Jeremy and wildlife vet John Lewis have spent the last 2 days organising and getting everything ready for the move.
So this is it. Today's the day. But I think we've got everything sorted. We've got a good plan in order to get Kalu safely into the box. Best laid plans and all of that. I'm sure it'll need some tweaking. We've got so many people helping us out, which is great. But to be honest, whenever we've moved an ape from overseas anywhere, there's always something. Yeah, fingers crossed.
As Alison pins her hope on a problem-free morning, at Broadlands, the nearby estate where Kalu lives, her keeper Michael is saying his final goodbyes. his job is to get Kalu safely and securely into her overnight shelter by the time the team arrive. The plan is to anaesthetise her with a tranquiliser dart, and this needs to be done by a licensed professional.
We need to have her out.
Okay, completely. Out.
Yeah, so I can examine her,
Right.
take blood samples, put a transponder in. What else am I going to do, Jeremy? That's about it, actually. And then box her and wake her up in the box.
But already there's a hitch.
Okay, so how do you come on the amount of 150,000 rand for that?
The gates on the farm at Broadlands, where Kalu is staying, have been locked shut, and no one can get in.
An endangered species.
Alison and Renee frantically phone around to find out what's going on.
Okay, but I'd like you to acknowledge that your client then is compromising the health and welfare of an endangered species.
It appears the new owner of Broadlands is demanding a large sum of money. He claims he's owed the cash for allowing Kalu, her keeper, and other staff to stay on the farm after her owner's death.
The man is holding Kalu ransom, who now owns the property, and he's locked the gates.
It's a disaster for the team. They need to safely sedate Kalu, load her into the travel crate, and get to the airport at least 4 hours before their flight is due to depart. If they can't get access to the estate soon, they'll miss the plane. With time running out, Renee calls in the police, as well as representatives from local animal welfare organisations.
Still locked, Joe.
But the estate's owner won't budge. With the clock ticking, Renee and Alison head for the local courthouse in the hope of obtaining a legal order, forcing the owner to give them access to Kalu.
If we don't get her there to the airport in time, which it's now looking close, we can't get her back to UK. So it's all gotten very serious, and for something that has nothing to do with the chimpanzee.
But at the estate, the patience of the local police has run out.
We've been told we don't need to go into the courts and get a warrant. They've had it, they're entering, and we're to come now. So we've hightailed it away from the courts back to the property now, where the police are going to effect an immediate entry to the premises to get Kalu.
The days are drawing in, and the weather's getting colder. Autumn heralds the arrival of flu season at the park, and the primate care staff are busy ensuring every ape receives a seasonal vaccine.
Flu jabs are incredibly important for chimpanzees. They're very genetically similar to us, they're very close to us genetically, so it's important they have the flu jabs because there is a good chance of them getting a cold or flu virus if it's going around, particularly with the staff. We have a lot of members of staff here, so it spreads through the staff really quickly. A lot of the time our chimps, they do get the flu, they just have a really bad few days and don't feel great, but we want to do whatever we can to reduce that and actually keep them feeling good and happy and healthy.
Many of our germs and viruses can affect chimps too. And because they live in large groups and are very social animals, infections spread rapidly. The flu vaccine is an important preventative measure, and today it's the turn of Bryan's group of 5 to receive theirs. Most of the apes at the park have been trained to accept injections. Some are better than others.
Shoulder.
Leader Bryan is a perfect example, presenting his shoulder straight away. He doesn't flinch as Lisa gives him the vaccine.
Good boy.
And he's rewarded when it's done.
There you go, darling. The rewards have to be really high value, so we tend to use things that we don't normally use in their daily diet. So with the flu jabs today, because we know it's going to hurt them a little bit more than the training, they have little cups of peanut butter and custard, and then we also have a fruit cup with a little bit more custard in that as well. So particularly for our larger chimps that maybe don't get peanut butter treats as often, it's a really good thing, so they're that bit keener to work for it. Ready?
Ash quickly follows suit.
Good girl. Well done.
So does Lulu. After almost 20 years at the park, she's seen it all before.
Good girl, well done.
But the youngster in the group, 14-year-old Rodders, is a bit wary at the sight of a needle.
Come on. Rodders.
Even with the incentive of a tasty reward, he needs a lot of persuading.
Shoulder. Thank you. Come on.
But the care team are patient. It's important the chimps learn to cooperate and take the vaccine willingly.
I think the thing to remember is we've got such a mixture of backgrounds with our chimps. Some of them, like Clean and Grisby and Kathy, that are from a lab, they're used to having injections and it does not bother them at all having an injection. Other chimps may not be so used to that sort of thing or may have come across injections in other ways. So I think their background plays a little bit part of it, but it's also just a mixture of personalities and what someone's more confident in, the others aren't so much. But the ones that are more nervous tend to get a lot more practice throughout the year. The ones that are much more confident with it tend not to need as much work throughout the year.
Nari!
The newest member of the group, Nari, arrived just a year ago from Thailand. She spent most of her life on her own, but has adjusted really well to living in a group. And her training is coming along too.
Ready? She does pick up behaviours fairly well. The issue we have with Nari is she gets a little bit distracted by boys. So if there's a man around, whether that's a member of the public by the window or whether it's just one of the keepers, she's more focused on them than she actually is on the training. It's just a case of getting her focus, and that's just us getting to know her more. Although she's been here a year, we've still got a lot more to learn about her personality, and when we find the thing that really motivates her, that's when we'll really see her training improve. Good girl.
With every member of Bryan's group eventually accepting their flu jabs, all the park's chimps have now been vaccinated and are protected for another year. As they enjoy some winter sunshine in their outdoor enclosure, Bryan's group are totally unaware a new chimp is due to join them. Back in South Africa, Alison and the team have finally gained access to the farm estate in order to rescue that very chimp, female Kalu. It took the threat of court action, protesters and police for a deal to be struck to get them inside the gates. But the hold-up means the team and Kalu have missed today's flight to the UK.
I've managed to, in the meantime, make a million phone calls and get both Kalu rescheduled on the cargo manifest, which is no easy task, and get us put onto the same flight with her. So it's an absolute nightmare. And now we get to do our real job, which is helping the chimp.
They're sticking with their original plan to anaesthetise Kalu with a dart to get her into her travel crate. Because of the delays, she'll have to stay there all night before heading to the airport in the morning. But when Jeremy reaches Kalu's enclosure, she's still outside and eating. Everything the team didn't want. An unhappy Jeremy persuades Kalu's keeper, Michael, to help try and entice her indoors.
Hello, come on. No. Oh. You're coming in. Coming in. Come on.
But when Jeremy attempts to shut the improvised slide, Kalu is having none of it. Angry and agitated, she pulls the slide out of Jeremy's grasp and makes it clear she won't be going back into the house today. It's a major blow. The team will have to move to plan B, darting Kalu in the outside enclosure. It's not ideal, and it won't be easy. What's more, the weather is making things worse.
The wind, man, that's another obstacle. It doesn't make darting in the whole procedure easy, really sort of unpleasant at the moment.
Kalu is still agitated. She knows something's up and is constantly on the move. Finding a clear shot is proving very difficult. But then an opportunity presents itself. She stops still for a split second, and the marksman takes the shot. The dart finds its mark. But with all the drama, Kalu's keeper Michael has failed to secure the gate separating the two outside enclosures. Kalu races through, and to the team's dismay, climbs the nearest tree.
Up in the tree.
30 feet up in the branches, with a full dose of anaesthetic about to take effect, it's a dangerous situation for the chimp. As Kalu begins to get drowsy from the effects of the drug, the team can only watch and wait.
Yeah, and let me just work out how to... Where's the gate?
Is that a gate there? I was going to get the keys and...
Then, without warning, disaster.
Oh, she's just fallen out the tree.
Kalu falls, hitting the ground hard. The team must reach her quickly. She may have sustained a serious injury from the fall. But the gate to the enclosure is chained and padlocked.
Renee, can you bring your bolt croppers?
Jeremy tries bolt cutters without success. All the while, Kalu lies motionless, with Alison just feet away on the other side of the fence. Brute strength and desperation do the trick.
Here you go. That's what we need. I knew we bought you for a reason.
We're in.
Jeremy, quickly followed by wildlife vet John Lewis, armed with his equipment, rushes straight in. John checks Kalu over. Her vital signs are good.
Got a good pulse in there.
On first inspection, she doesn't appear to have any broken limbs. But John can't be certain Kalu hasn't sustained any internal injuries.
Okay, we're good. Right. You got that? Okay.
He decides the safest option is to move Kalu into the shelter to check she's okay, as well as take blood and microchip her before loading her into the travel crate.
Yeah, we got that.
With the rearranged flight from South Africa not until tomorrow afternoon, Alison is anxious to avoid any more complications.
Oh, we got movement. Yep, oh. Right in the fingers, Jeremy. Wait.
The team decide to leave the estate immediately and take Kalu back to Rene's, where they can keep a close eye on her. It's going to be a long night for all concerned. Next time on Monkey Life. After a dramatic rescue in South Africa, Chimp Kalu begins her journey to a new home in Dorset.
She's alert, looking around. Quiet though, which is nice. All good. I think she's just checking out the show.
Plus, nothing is mission impossible for the clever capuchins. Today on Monkey Life. After a dramatic rescue in South Africa, Chimp Kalu begins her journey to a new home in Dorset.
She's alert, looking around. Quiet though, which is nice. All good. I think she's just checking out the show.
And 24 hours later, arrives at the park with a whole new life ahead of her.
It's been a long one. This has been a tricky rescue.
Plus, nothing is mission impossible for the clever capuchins. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
Everybody's well aware that they need to be looked after carefully. They should be okay.
The park provides a home for more than 260 monkeys and apes from 24 different species. It's been a long, sleepless night in South Africa for Alison and the park's animal director, Jeremy Keeling. For the last 3 days, along with wildlife vet John Lewis, they've been in Cape Town, 6,000 miles from Dorset, attempting to rescue elderly female chimp Kalu, who needs a new home. But yesterday, events took a dramatic turn. A dispute with the owner of the property where she was living led to a standoff. with local police having to intervene before a last-minute deal was struck. Once they regained access to the chimp, stress levels rocketed even further when she had to be darted in her outside enclosure and then, loaded with sedative, fell 30 feet from a tree.
There is no way on this earth that I could have predicted what was going to happen yesterday. And, you know, I think I'm going to need therapy or recovery time. I mean, it was just insane. But we're here today. I'm feeling rejuvenated and confident. Fingers crossed we're on the plane tonight.
The team took Kalu to neighbouring Monkey Town to monitor, unsure if she would recover enough to fly or if she'd suffered internal injuries. Jeremy watched over her through the night, and this morning, vet John is feeling confident.
This morning she's a different animal. She's up, she's interacting with people, she's got very good colour, she shows no lumps and bumps externally, no obvious wounds, no obvious evidence of internal hemorrhage or any other disasters which could have happened. And I'm considerably happier this morning to see her in that condition than I was last night. Jeremy stayed with her all last night so that we had a check on her all the time. Even so, at that stage, there's very little I can do. She just has to recover.
Jeremy has seen it all before.
This stage of the operation, you can't really relax until we've got her into her new accommodation, into her new bedrooms, and contented and, you know, realising that this isn't such a bad thing after all.
It's time to leave for the airport. Alison makes sure all the documentation needed is present and correct and clearly displayed on the travel crate. For René Grobler, who was instrumental in the move, it's a bittersweet moment.
Let's go.
Kalu has been part of his life in one way or another since he was a boy. But he's delighted that she'll finally have a home with companionship of her own kind.
More than that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, we'll see you soon, eh? And I will send you along the way.
It's a 45-minute journey to the airport, and once there, the transfer into the cargo area goes like clockwork.
She's alert, looking around. Quiet though, which is nice. All good. I think she's just checking out the show.
Kalu is put into a holding area, which is nice and cool, before the time comes to load her onto the plane.
It's much cooler in here, which is good.
The team are allowed a final check to make sure everything is safe and secure before saying their goodbyes.
This has just been an absolutely sterling job. They expected her, everything was quick, smooth. They've got her in a relatively quiet area in the cargo, and when we just last saw her, she was sound asleep. Couldn't ask for more.
Next stop, Dorset, and a bright new future for Kalu. At the park, life's been a bit different for the chimps in Bart's group for the past week. The staff have been busy renovating their indoor playroom. And while work's been going on inside, most of the residents have remained outside. The pavilion was originally built almost 30 years ago. There've been regular improvements and alterations over the years, but it's now been given a full overhaul. Gone are the old wooden poles, replaced with robust steel supports, which are much easier for the staff to keep clean. And there are lots more hose walkways and hammocks to encourage the group to climb and keep active while indoors.
It's massively important if we can keep them always thinking, always using all their muscles. So just the basic instinct of just climbing up to their bed will be using muscles that they need to be using just to make sure that they maintain a nice, healthy body. And the fact there's so much space, they don't always have to be rubbing shoulders with each other, especially during feed time. So there's plenty of opportunities for chimps to grab the food that they want and then make a quick getaway or find themselves a nice hidden spot where they can eat in peace.
With the work complete and new bedding and fresh food scattered around, it's time to see what the group think of their new playroom. Cindy and Chatter lead the charge, with alpha male Bart close behind. The group are very excited. The combination of the new apparatus and the abundance of healthy tomatoes to eat makes for an enthusiastic response. The majority of the group have been at the park for many years and are used to things changing from time to time. But Toprish is new to all this and struggling to take it in. While most of the group run around like excited teenagers, she makes for the top of the climbing frame, looking slightly bewildered. She's progressed really well since arriving from Turkey last year, but every now and then, more established chimps can't resist the opportunity to wind her up. And today, it's Gamba.
Toprish has fitted in very, very well. She's learned what she can get away with and what she can't, but she has made very good friends with Bart, so there's more things that she can get away with that she can't. And yeah, the group have welcomed her with open arms. She is being quite testing with them, but they are all aware of she is very young and naive, so it will just be a waiting game for her to fully adjust.
And while the youngster tries to work things out, dominant female Cindy is often there to protect her. Toprish may be still trying to find her place in the group, but new leader Bart has firmly established his.
Yeah, he's got all the respect from the group. He's learning his role day by day as well. He's took it in his stride, and every single day for every single chimp is a nice new lesson for them.
The revamped Playroom has been a hit, and the excitement continues right up to the arrival of the afternoon feed. At the Stumpy house, the lovingly named Ugly Monkeys are in for a treat. Primate care staff member Toby is on a mission to keep the 8 members of the group fit and active. He's making the most of the autumn fall and covering their playroom in leaves. Suspended from hoses and around the playroom are barrels and buoys, and Toby's hiding their breakfast amongst them.
It just gives them something different. Obviously, it looks different. There's lots of bugs and things in there. We've got some nuts in here as well for them to sort of forage for and find. So it just changes it up a bit for them, and it will last a few days, and hopefully it will encourage the stumpies to be nice and active and move around lots when they're foraging.
When it comes to feeding time, the stumpies are unlike any other group at the park.
With the stumpies, it's quite difficult to enrich them because, one, their motivation isn't as high as some of the others, and two, they eat most things, like the things we'd use to say the capuchins, like socks and pillowcases and rags and cardboard. Stumpies just eat that, so we have to be a bit more creative with what we give them. It has to be stumpy-proof. So we found that the bottles and the barrels are really good because they don't tend to chew them, but it also means they've got to work a bit. So they're not just walking around on the floor trying to picking up the food and then going and eating it. So just keeping them active, keeping them busy is good for them.
Leader Sam is first into the bedroom, closely followed by dominant female Kelly. At 33, Sam is the only survivor of the park's original group of stumpies, who were rescued from a laboratory 20 years ago. But he proves age is no barrier, as he expertly maintains his balance and rummages through one of the barrels. The stumpies are an elderly group. At 21, Sylvie is the youngest. She's the most quick and agile, and can get to places others can't reach. Kelly struggles a bit when climbing, but Toby's plan is working. And the reward of a tasty chestnut gets her moving. Female Charlie is another with mobility issues. She has problems with her hips, and as a low ranker, is careful to keep out of the way of anyone more senior. Most of the group take the easy option, rummaging through the leaves on the floor and storing what they find in their cheek pouches for eating later. But there are 2 members conspicuous by their absence, and Toby has made provisions for them.
Toto and Freddie are still fairly right at the bottom of the group, and generally they're not brave enough to come into the playroom, so they're probably not going to get the full benefit of all the leaves and things. So what I'm going to do is save these leaves for Toto and Freddie's room, so that when they come in tonight, they still get the benefit and the fun of foraging and investigating the pile of leaves too.
While Toto and Freddie enjoy the autumn sunshine together, the rest of the grumpy stumpies have fulfilled their exercise quota for the day and are content to sit back, relax, and enjoy the fruits of their labour. Feeding time for all the park's primates is a challenge for all the care team, who are constantly on the lookout for new and inventive ways to keep the animals busy, stimulated, and active. But while the stumpies, given the chance, will even try and eat the containers hiding their treats, the spider monkeys are a little more discerning. Today, Katie is putting old bedding to good use, stringing pillowcases up high in their enclosure. She's filled them with dried fruits and nuts covered in straw to make retrieval just that little bit harder for the nimble-fingered spider monkeys. And for something quite out of the ordinary, she's also filling tub trugs with water and floating plastic toys. And as an added bonus, in goes some low-calorie popcorn. Surely this will grab the trio's attention.
They're extremely different. Hickory is the oldest, and he has got kind of like the personality of a grumpy old man. Flint is a little bit more kind of like outgoing, always there and interested in things, but Pumpkin's kind of like the most dominant of the three. She's definitely the one who goes over and will check everything out.
Spider monkeys are suspensory feeders, using their strong prehensile tails to hang from branches while gathering food and water. It's a skill they'll need to use today to get the most from the snack challenge. As predicted, it's Pumpkin, the only female in the trio, who's first out of the blocks. She's the most confident and noisiest of the three, especially when food's involved. The two males have learnt to wait their turn while Pumpkin checks things out, and today's no exception. And it seems she definitely has a preference for popcorn. Hickory, fed up of waiting, takes matters into his own hands in dramatic fashion. He's the oldest and usually the most reserved of the group, but today he's full of mischief. Flint makes straight for the pillowcases, quickly working out how to get to the treats inside. He's normally more highly strung than the other two, but beginning to mellow as he gets older. Pumpkin's had enough of picking popcorn out of the water. It's a lot easier when you don't have to get your hands wet. Spider monkeys are arboreal. In the wild, they live above the ground in the trees of their natural habitat. The care team do their best to replicate this at the park. Pumpkin gives a perfect demonstration, expertly hanging down using her long prehensile tail as an anchor while searching through the pillowcase for some food. It's been a fun afternoon of enrichment for the group. They've all got stuck in and enjoyed the challenge. Plus, most of the treats have either been eaten or sunk without trace. Of all the different primate species at the park, the capuchins are widely thought to be the most intelligent monkeys. They're problem solvers with highly developed brains that need to be kept busy. So today, primate care staff member Donna is planning to give Winslow's group of 17 a tricky task to keep them thinking, challenge their coordination, and test their tenacity. She's hanging baskets filled with straw all around their enclosure, in the most difficult to reach places she can find. And to encourage them to climb and investigate, she's filling the baskets with one of their favourite treats,
So today we've got some straw balls up, which have got waxworms in, which really is one of the capuchins' favourite foods. It's really high in protein as well, so we try and give them insects on a daily basis, really. It also gets their muscles working as well. We've put them in places that are quite difficult to access. So yeah, they have to try and balance, lean, stretch down, which is all really good for their muscle tone as well.
There are 3 males and 14 females in the group, all led by Winslow. Donna is hoping everyone will get involved in today's enrichment. The slide is opened, and it's the females who lead the way. Debbie is out first, followed by 2 of the highest-ranking ladies, Babe and Esther. Debbie used to be dominant, but has fallen a couple of rungs down the hierarchy ladder. However, she's still a feisty and formidable female. Babe has moved up and is now one of the head ladies. She's always on the go. Unlike the majority of the park's capuchins who arrived from a Chilean laboratory, Babe was rescued from the pet trade in Spain, along with another female, Amy. Capuchins are quick and agile and great at climbing. Onslow reaches out to forage through the straw, looking for the tasty waxworms, while using his tail as an anchor. Leonie demonstrates a good head for heights, leaning over the edge of a platform and hooking a basket in search of breakfast. One of the youngest members of the group, Ruby, is also on the move. She demonstrates great balance and coordination as she delves into the straw. Finally, leader Winslow makes an appearance and goes in search of a basket. He takes the easy option, stretching up to forage in one that's low to the ground. He finds a treat, but gets showered in straw as he searches for another. The clever capuchins make short work of the baskets, so the care team throw in something else to keep them occupied. Frozen passion fruit. It's something they haven't tasted in a while.
Capuchins are really intelligent. It's so important that we keep them stimulated as much as we can. If we don't, they get bored. That's when we see more squabbles in the group, and that's when we see the stereotypical behaviours coming out a lot more as well. And the passion fruit are really great because they're frozen. It keeps them busy for longer periods of time, rather than just eating, it's done, then what do we do next? I'm bored.
It seems to do the trick. There's enough frozen fruit for everyone to get their teeth into. But leader Winslow opts for a grooming session from one of his ladies. While the smaller primates relax, the long and stressful operation to rescue the park's new resident, chimpanzee Kalu, has finally come to an end. She's made it safely to her new home at Monkey World. Her journey from a farm estate in Cape Town, where she spent most of her life after being stolen from the wild, to a new life in Dorset hasn't been without incident.
Hey, you! Hey, missus! You gonna get up?
I just really am looking forward to getting her out of that box because she has now been in there for close to 48 hours now. And once again, you know, not how it was meant to be, but at least she's safe and good. And, you know, once we got her into that box, she changed personality and seemed to appreciate our company. So I'm hoping that that's the true Kalu and not the sort of edgy, nasty one that we sort of met at the enclosure.
The difficulties surrounding Kalu's rescue meant her anaesthetic was risky, and she's had to stay in her box for 2 days. But despite this, she's bright, alert, and responsive. Her recovery is a huge relief, because soon, this elderly female chimp will undergo a life-changing experience, becoming the 6th member of Bryan's small group.
Right. Beginning the new life.
Alison hopes the group's acceptance of Nari, who arrived a little over a year ago from Thailand, will be extended to Kalu, making them the perfect companions for her remaining years. She hasn't been in the company of chimps since she was stolen from the wild more than 30 years ago.
Kalu! Hey, you!
Introductions will take place slowly over time. For now, the troop are being kept outside while Kalu gets used to her new surroundings.
Let's go.
Alison's happy with how the chimp has settled after her long journey, but is concerned with Kalu's appearance.
Well done. She's really skinny. She's lost a lot of condition. We don't know why. I'm gonna have to rely upon the primate care staff to just intensive care with her over the next couple of days and get to know her, but that's what they're great at. It's possible that she has some greater problem that's caused the weight loss. We just don't know. I've got the bloods to send off for analysis now, and we just have to wait and see. But she's bright in herself. She looks good, her color's good. Really happy. It's been a long one. This has been a tricky, tricky rescue.
The primate care team are keen to get their first proper look at the new arrival. They'll give Kalu a few days to settle in and make sure she's happy and eating well before considering introducing her to her new companions. For now, they're happy just to watch as Kalu gets to grips with her new life at the park. Next time on Monkey Life, a novel training idea to persuade Chimp Toprish the great outdoors is a safe place to be.
Good girl. Can't find the red dot.
And don't mind if I do. Marmoset's Reggie and Freja enjoy their grapes. A whole bunch. Today on Monkey Life, a novel training idea to persuade Chimp Toprish the great outdoors is a safe place to be.
Good girl. Can't find the red dot.
A devastating woolly emergency as young mum Ayla rejects and attacks her newborn baby.
The left side of the mouth, I think there are
We've got a
bite marks.
wound on the lower lip.
And don't mind if I do. Marmoset's Reggie and Freja enjoy their grapes. A whole bunch. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
Oh, skinny girl.
The park provides a home for more than 260 monkeys and apes from 24 different species. The majority of the park's chimpanzees have come from bad or abusive backgrounds. So, to help keep them fit and active, the primate care staff give them daily doses of vitamins and supplements. This morning, Bart's group of 17 are about to get theirs.
He's coming.
Including the most recent member who arrived from a zoo in Istanbul a year ago, female Toprish. She's now a fully integrated member of the community, living and sleeping with the other chimps. But there's a challenge she's yet to conquer.
The big stumbling block for us is that she's not yet going outside. Back in the spring, when we first gave her the opportunity to go outside, she obviously got a shock from the fence. And then over the summer and the really nice weather, we hoped that it would just happen naturally, but it hasn't. So I've sat down with the chimp team and we've kind of brainstormed as what we can do from a training point of view to try and encourage her to take that final step.
It's been 8 months since Toprish ventured into the large outdoor enclosure for the first time. Unfortunately, she touched the electric wire designed to stop the chimps messing about with the fence and went scampering back indoors. It's all part of the learning process for new arrivals. But despite numerous attempts by the team to entice her back outside, she's refused to go further than the end of the outdoor tunnel. The concern is, it's been so long since she even tried setting foot in the great outdoors, she's not even considering it as an option.
All of the good things that happen to Toprish, enrichment, food, interactions with the other chimps, are happening inside, and she's able to move around the inside facility while we're cleaning. So when we're doing the bed, she's in the playroom and vice versa. So I think we just need to simply provide some reinforcement for going beyond what has kind of become her universe. We need her to consider the outside.
So far, every attempt has ended in failure. But now the team have come up with a fresh idea, carefully pointing a low-powered laser pen.
Good girl. It's called Find the Red Dot. Target.
For the last few days, with the majority of the group outside, staff have been teaching Toprish indoors to touch the red dot from a laser pen with her hand.
Good girl. We've started getting her to target. Good girl. Move around and touch it. So she's basically following the red dot and moving from place to place to go and touch the red dot, and she then gets a reward for doing that. The idea is that we're then going to take this outside to try and encourage her to go out into the enclosure. Good girl. As long as nothing bad happens to her, she's reaching and touching that red dot, that's going to build up her confidence that she can actually step out of those tunnels without getting an electric shock, which is what happened to her the first day she went outside. So we're building her confidence, we're using the target training to move her and to encourage her to go outside, and fingers crossed, this is going to eventually get her out into the enclosure, because we've been waiting a long time, haven't we? Hey? Good girl.
Toprish's response is just the sort of positive reaction the team have been hoping for. Now they need to transfer what she's learned inside to the outside and the end of the tunnels. Fingers crossed she'll take that next big step. Over the years, Monkey World has established a strong reputation for rescuing and rehabilitating primates from around the globe. But the real issue now is much closer to home.
By far, our biggest ongoing problem in the primate trade is the legal trade in primates as pets in Britain today. And in just the last 10 years, we've brought in more than 70 monkeys from the British pet trade. And that means we're obligated to care for them for the rest of their lives. So it is a bit of a nightmare.
The vast majority, rescued from homes and businesses around the UK, have been marmosets. These small primates were frequently being kept in poor conditions by owners who had no idea how to look after them. With so many rehomed at the park over the last few years and a huge waiting list still on Alison's desk, the team had to build a new marmoset complex to house them. Today, 2 lucky marmoset pairs resident there, who were rescued from the UK pet trade, are in for a fruity treat. Primate care member Steph is distributing freshly harvested grapes on the vine around their enclosures.
They love to spend their days outside. Anytime the weather's even remotely nice, they're straight out there, and they actually spend majority of the day out foraging, looking for insects in their enclosure. So putting some grapes outside should be great for them because they spend all day outside anyway, and they should really enjoy them.
Fruit is an important part of a marmoset's diet. However, the park limits the amount of sugary commercial fruit the primates are fed. Today's delicacy is a real treat. Fred is first out. He and his partner Freja are Jeffroy's marmosets, slightly larger than their next-door neighbours Reggie and Jerry, who are common marmosets. Both Jeffroys were victims of the pet trade and were paired together at Monkey World. They get on well and have become a good pair bond. Fred, in particular, is very confident. He loves attention and is pretty vocal when he gets it. He seems extremely keen on today's offering of juicy grapes. Very little is known about the background of his partner, Freja. She was found running loose on scaffolding outside a block of flats in Tower Hamlets, London. Her owner was never traced. But she's settled well into life at the park, and the pair make a good team. Next door, the two common marmosets, adult male Reggie and his sister Jerry, are happy to share their grapes. They were born into the pet trade and are siblings. Unlike Fred and Freja, they benefited from being reared by their natural mother and growing up together. Their love of juicy grapes is clear to see. Marmosets have claws rather than nails, which help them cling to branches and are put to good use when reaching out for food. The small monkeys can move quickly through the tree canopy of their native habitat in Brazil, using their long tails for balance. But unlike some other South American primates, they can't use them for gripping or swinging. After a difficult start in life, it's great to see both pairs of marmosets happy and content at the park. It's early morning, and at the Stumpy enclosure, the macaques are about to be given their daily supplements. There are 8 members in the group, and most are in their late 20s or early 30s. Their age and time in biomedical laboratories is catching up with them. Each has their own individual requirements, and the primate care staff have a routine which operates according to rank and keeps things as stress-free as possible for the elderly macaques. The 3 lowest-ranking stumpies, Flo, Freddie and Toto, prefer to be outside, while the more dominant members know the drill and stay indoors.
Just going to go and find Flo this morning because she's one of the lower ranking members of the group. Sometimes it's more difficult to get her supplements and medications into her when the dominant animals are around, but she's normally outside with Toto and Freddie and she's dominant over them, so hopefully she'll come over. Yeah, she's just making her way over now.
Flo arrived at the park 6 years ago from a cat and dog rescue centre in Munich, having been smuggled from the wild. Her exact age is a mystery, and she suffers mobility issues, especially with her legs.
Hey, Flo.
She's being given paracetamol 3 times a day to help alleviate the problem.
There we go. It's important we get it into her early in the morning so that we can get a lunchtime dose and an afternoon dose into her as well. She's also had her vitamin C tablet, and she's due to have her glucosamine. But Flo is one of our fussiest stumpies, and she refuses most supplements, and she's liable to spit her glucosamine out because she likes to take things on her own terms, in her own time. She's the most challenging one to get medications and supplements into on a regular basis.
This morning, however, Flo is feeling cooperative. Next in line are the boys, Toto and Freddie, the 2 lowest-ranking members of the group. Toto in particular has had difficulties integrating with the others, but things are starting to improve.
Toto's doing well. He's just got to get a bit more confidence in himself, really. But he is spending a lot more time inside. Again, as the weather gets colder, he is coming in the house more, and Sam will come over and have a sort of a greeting with him and then wander off. But as much of it is just Toto building up that confidence to come in and actually sort of spend a bit more time in there.
Once the 3 outside have been given a banana as a reward for taking their tablets, Toby can turn his attention to the 5 more dominant macaques waiting for their supplements indoors.
This is their routine every day, so generally they know where they should be. Sam knows that that's his place to sit, and hopefully the girls will organise themselves into their usual spots. If they're all in the right spots, it goes smoothly. As if someone decides to be in the wrong place, that it can sort of be a little bit more challenging, but generally they're very good at taking their supplements in the morning. Good girl, you wait there. Good boy, Sammy.
With everyone in position and waiting patiently, Toby gets started. Leader Sam is first.
I'm not sure that cod liver oil and glucosamine, well, they don't taste that nice, but he just eats them like that. Good boy.
Followed by dominant female Kelly.
Kelly also gets a contraceptive pill.
Sylvie doesn't mess around when it's her turn.
You have to be quick with Sylvie because she eats things very quickly.
And Noreen is also used to the routine. But Charlie is a bit finicky.
Charlie is very, very fussy with her paracetamol, and it took us a very long time to find her something she takes it in. We found that she likes it in honey off a spoon.
This morning's supplement session has gone like clockwork.
Well done, everyone. Good boy, Sammy.
But the routine has to be repeated every day. And when they want to, these macaques can live up to their grumpy, stumpy nickname. At the orangutan nursery, the group are outside doing what they do best, having fun. But it's not quite business as usual. For the past 6 months, the two older boys, Jin and Silvestre, have been kept apart, taking it in turns to go outside with the rest of the group. They're both growing up fast and well on their way to becoming full adult males. Unfortunately, their play sessions can get out of control and have occasionally led to a few minor injuries. It's time for one of them to move on and become leader of his own group. Alison has spent a considerable time looking for a suitable new home.
We had hoped actually to get, Jin and or Silvestre their future adult home actually, more than 6 months ago. But things didn't work out with the original arrangement. So Jin and Silvestre have been managed separately in the nursery because what was playful, boisterous sort of wrestling to begin with turned into full-on male-male competition. It's what orangutans are designed to do, really. So that's just an indicator that it's time for Jin to move on.
Alison has now found the ideal place, Wingham Wildlife Park in Kent, home to a young female called Molly, who could be the perfect partner for Jin.
He's going to leave a little bit of a hole in the group. The youngsters all like playing with him. He's quite good with the kids. Probably the one who's going to think, yeah, that's okay, goodbye, is Oshin, because Jin was rather amorous and pesky, and Oshin didn't really appreciate his attention, so we'll just have to hope Molly does.
It's going to be hard for the team to say goodbye to Jin. He was born at the park in November 2009 to Mum Xiao Kuai and young dad Gordon. He had the best possible start in life for a captive orangutan, living with his parents in his early years before moving to the nursery, where he's grown into a kind, fun young adult with a big personality. But it's time to move on, and the team have the tough task of preparing Jin for the move. He'll be transported to Kent in a secure travel crate. But first, he needs to be trained to get into it.
Come on then, handsome. Hey, good boy. Shut Gemma, please.
It's essential training to keep the move as stress-free as possible.
You're so good.
The team don't want to sedate Jin on moving day. If they can get him used to entering and being in the crate with the door shut, it'll make the journey easier for everyone.
Open.
Primate care member Jarno will gradually increase the time he stays in the box.
Come on then, Jin. Well done, my man. That is just brilliant.
Until the big day in a few weeks' time, when Jin will be ready to start the next chapter in his life story. While one of the park's primates is preparing to leave, another is unaware that soon there'll be a new arrival, whose presence will have a big effect on his life. Cotton-top tamarin Uncas was a victim of the pet trade, who arrived in 2009 along with his partner Alice. They were found in a small birdcage when Kent police raided premises suspected of puppy farming. Both were in a bad way. But thanks to the work and dedication of the staff, they recovered and spent 4 happy years together until Alice sadly passed away. Since then, Uncas has had other housemates, but now finds himself alone once again and in need of a friend.
He didn't have a very good start in life. He was kept as a pet in really unsuitable conditions. He's really old, but we really have no idea of his age. But he's still really active. He loves being outside in the sunshine when it's a nice day. He's really vocal, he chirps around. He's got a special place in a lot of people's hearts. Not only because he's our only Tamarin, but just because of his life and his story and his background and just how much of a lovely boy he is.
But Karen knows just how important it is for primates to be with their own kind.
You can never replicate companionship with these animals. You can put in as much enrichment as you want to and try and keep them as busy as you possibly can, but to have a friend and a companion is better than anything, really. They'll be constantly chatting to each other. Grooming is a really great social interaction, so you can never beat having a companion for social species like these.
Now, after months of searching, there's some good news for lonely Uncas.
Very luckily for him, we have actually managed to find a female cotton-top tamarin that is currently living on her own in a collection in the UK. And hopefully very, very soon she will be coming to join us.
The female in question is also living a solo existence at Longleat Safari Park. If things work out, then in the very near future, Uncas will have a new housemate to keep him company. Staff are keeping their fingers crossed it'll be a match made in heaven. And Uncas will have a companion once again. At the Barn Woolies house, an emergency is in progress. Leader Chippy and most of the group is in the outside enclosure. But inside, the care team have discovered young woolly monkey Ayla has just given birth. It's not looking good. As soon as the infant was born, the new mum bit the baby and threw it to the ground. Alison has rushed across the park to rescue it before Ayla can do any more damage.
Okay, so I think we've got trauma to the head.
You see we've got a puncture wound here on the right side.
How swollen is it?
Alison and vet nurse Stacey check the infant over and are concerned by what they find.
I know, baby face. We've got swelling all around the face.
But the left side of the mouth, I think there are
We've got a
bite marks.
A wound on the lower lip and then in the very corner of the left side of the mouth.
As they carefully examine the baby for serious injuries, they also try to determine its sex.
I think it might be a little girl.
Oh, and then we've got some bruising slightly higher up there.
Okay, but nice, strong baby.
Very strong baby.
Yeah, careful, be careful.
It looks as if the new infant could be a fighter.
Terrible start for this little one. We'll do what we can. So we're going to be very concerned about whether and how this little one develops. The upside is babies have very soft skulls. It's how they make it through the birth canal. So even if she has damaged the baby's skull, as long as it's not bleeding or seeping out gray matter, could be fine. But nothing's for sure at the moment.
Alison takes the baby woolly to the office. It's vital she keeps it warm and hydrated if it's going to come through the next 24 hours. The baby's rejection has come as a bit of a shock to Alison and the team. They were hoping Ayla would learn to embrace motherhood. After all, she was born at the park and reared by her own mother, Paquita. Since then, she's witnessed Paquita successfully raise all her siblings. But this is the second baby Ayla has cast aside. It looks as if Alison will now have to take on the hand-rearing of her 7th woolly monkey.
We have no interest in hand-rearing woolly monkeys or anything else, but when you see that you've got what's a healthy, alive, quite well-developed little woolly monkey, and the mother starts biting and abusing it so badly, you can't just leave it. It's rooting around. That's a good sign. So far, it's responding very well and it's quite strong, so we'll see how we go.
As soon as the hand-rearing kit arrives from the park's hospital, Alison sets about getting fluids into the baby. She's a good size, with a strong grip and pretty vocal. All positive signs. If she can survive the night, the team may be able to X-ray her tomorrow. That should tell them exactly what injuries the baby has sustained. For now, all they can do is keep everything crossed that this little fighter will make it safely through the night. Next time on Monkey Life. The new baby woolly monkey, rejected and attacked by its mother, undergoes X-rays, with worrying results.
The skull should heal, it's just what damage has been done to the brain.
Okay.
Plus, Chimp Toprish finally conquers her fear of the great outdoors.